Hello and welcome to Buckman's Model Mania. Today we're going to be working on the Batmobile from Fanhome D'Agostini, Stage 20. Doing more parts on the front suspension. Let's go ahead and get the parts out. As you can see, I have it still on the mat from the last video. And peek behind the curtain, the last video I finished about a minute and a half ago. So we've got lots and lots of screws in this one. Something I always find funny is when you have screws. Let's see, we have EM screws. We have these are either going to be WM screws or they're going to be WM screws. We have some AM screws. And then we have more screws inside the bubble pack. Why wouldn't they just put all the screws inside the bubble pack? Careful not to send parts away. So we have the AIM screws, AIM. We have CM screws. So these are all metal screws. Everything is going to be going into metal, which means most of these parts should be metal. This is metal. Let's actually open a book and identify what each part is. That is shock absorber rod. This could be interesting. There's the spring, and it is pretty good spring. C, I believe that would be this shock absorber mount. Oops. That's just called a shaft. Front left upper suspension arm. Steering spindle arm, because this will have workable steering. G and H, lower arm ball, upper arm ball. That would be these two parts here. Looking, they are not a lot different, but this one is a little bit shorter. H, I believe this is H. That would make this G because it's the longer of the two. Matter of fact, here you go. Here you can really see how much. Yeah, I mean, it's not a lot different, but it's enough that you need to make sure you have them correct. Okay, so now that we have the parts out, let's build. So we take the steering controller arm here. So it says, yeah, the ball joints on the upper and lower arm look similar. That's a note right here, but can be told apart. The screw post end of the lower arm is longer than the upper arm. So we're going to put this one in here. Push that on there. We're going to push the other one on there. Hopefully they're both a little bit snug on there, which is actually good. I'm hoping that the threads should be on the little piece that is inside there. Just making sure everything looks right. So WM. We have 3 of them, which means we're using 2 with 1 spare. Dip this in the oil. Just looking, making sure that I've got everything in the right spot. That's where it gets interesting, is because you got to make sure you get these on here correctly. Otherwise, the screw won't go through. There we go. If it starts to bind, you want to make sure everything is good, because you don't want to snap this little arm. One of the things you need to check is that the screw is actually coming through the other side. Just like that, you can see the end of the screws right there. So let's do the same thing with this one. This one could be a little bit more should be, I have it lined up. I was going to say this one could be a little bit more difficult because it was a little bit stiff getting it onto the arm itself, but it feels like it's going through with no problem. Maybe. Very important that it engages on both sides, because this will be how your steering works. And you can see there the oil on the screw. And then these are supposed to be straight up and down, so that's what I'm doing right now. And there is your steering arm. Assembling the upper suspension arm, we're going to take the mount, and then we're going to fit the shaft to the shock absorber mount. Screw hole on either end. It looks like it can go either direction. It can go on here either direction, but I was about to say there are 6 screw holes, but there are no screw holes on that side. You need to make sure that at least is correct. And that's going in using CM screws. There are quite a few CM screws, so let me get 2 out. Dip this in the oil. And just to let you see, there is a socket there for these posts to go into. It actually fits down inside there while you're screwing it in. These, as far as I can tell, are all metal parts. Just making sure I've got it on here the right way, because I was just missing the hole. Okay. Got that one started. Let's go ahead and get this one started. And then we'll tighten it all the way down. This one down as well. And so we have an assembly like that. You can see I boogered up the threads a little bit there. Then you're going to take the what do they call it? The suspension arm here, can put one EM screw on either side so that it's going to fit on here like this with that dent, that concavity there on the bottom. And this right here is why I tend to leave the mat put away these days. It gets oil on it. Oops, got one, other. This up. Dip it in the oil. Back this out because it's slightly canted. And don't worry, I mean, other than don't tighten them until to snap the screws, but don't worry up too much about tightening these too much. You're not going to. They need to move, but they also need to be really snug. Because the weight of the car is going to do a lot of flexing on these springs. Make sure these are good and tight. That's good. That's good. And it's fully tightened, but there is resistance there to keep it from just flopping all over the place. So next we're going to take the spring, or the spring shaft, I guess. The shock absorber coil spring is going to go on here. And what we're going to do is we're going to put it, just looking, make sure. So the coil spring is going to go in here into that recess. Let's see if it's going to go into the recess there. Let's see if I can get it in there. Oh, look, my friend fell off the engine again. It's going to go in here like that. And when we bring the A-frame up, it's going to sit on the raised portion there. And you can see there's a couple of screw holes. There's actually a pattern here. There's some screw holes here. You're going to slide this up through here like this. And then you're going to take 2 AM screws to lock that part in place. To lock the shock absorber arm or rod, cylinder, however you want to put it. And of course it fell out. So I'm going to put this back in here like this. And this is where it's going to get a little bit tricky, because the screw that goes into the top there of this rod, you're going to have to compress that spring when you're putting it on. So we get this. Wow, that actually tightened in pretty quick. I have a feeling that there were already threads cut. Okay, this one, alternate back and forth to make sure you get this tight, because this is going to become, this is going to be a key part of the suspension until you get it completely snug. Turn the car back over. Or no, we're leaving it upside down. Because what we're doing now is we're going to take the steering arm. You can see the screw hole in that post right there. Oops. Do not put this on backwards. Always align your car to match what you're looking, match the pictures. So we're going to put that screw, that post here, and then we're going to put a screw in it. This screw, this hole in this post has to be there, has to be on the bottom top right now, as well as this needs to be facing the outside. So it's going to go on here like that, with the arm sticking towards the back. And we're going to use an AIM screw. The AIM screw has a flange on it. Dip this in the oil. Tighten it down. Don't tighten it to break it, just tighten it to where it's snug. Actually, as I move it around a little bit, it loosens it up to where it can go a little bit further in. You want it to be able to move, but you don't want it to be floppy. Turn the car back over, turn it around to where the left-hand side of the car is facing towards you. And then you've got the two sockets there and two posts right there. That's where this is going to sit on top of, like that. You use the two CM screws to lock to put that part on. Go ahead and tighten them both, or insert them both first, and then tighten them after they're both on. You want to make sure that these are good and tight. Oh, you know what? I'm an idiot. I missed an AIM screw there, so I've got to take this part back off. Might have to take the bottom part back off as well. I don't think so, because I was sitting here going, that's an awful long ways for them to try and put that rod through. This rod right now, which is not in the right place, should be poking up through here right now. Yeah, I'm going to have to take these back off as well. It's in there canted at an angle. I'm never going to be able to get it where it's supposed to be with the way it's in there. Now I'm looking to see if I can even see it. I'm going to undo this sway brace again. The key thing is, like I said, you got to get it through the hole here. I'm not even seeing where if it's going to go through there. It should be coming through. Let me see. It's lining up. The spring is, at least. Try it this way. I've got it compressed. There we go. So you can see it is right there. So now what I need to do is take an AM screw, get it on the screwdriver, and I'm doing this while holding this part, holding the shock in place. Dip it in the oil. Reattach or attach. And once it's started threading in there, you're pretty much home free. Tighten it down until it hits the bottom. Then you got to take this. See, right now that's canted and angled. Just turn it, pop it back into place. And that is where I'm going to pause for a second so I can take care of the text that just came through. I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. So what we're going to do is put these two screws back in. Back in here. They're going in so much nicer now because the threads are already cut. Tighten that one. Okay, now that those are back in, double check and make sure that that's still snug. And so you can see there is a little bit of give, not a whole lot. Oh, and let's pop this arm back on here. If I can, without snapping it. Best laid plans. Loosen that up. Now I can pop that arm back over here. Goes back on really easily. Tighten this back down. Feels like that's a little bit loose. It is. Tighten that down. See, it's a balance. On Partworks, it is really a balance of making sure that your screws are tight enough to hopefully stay put, loose enough to be able to move, but when you tighten them down or when you move things, they loosen. Okay, so back to where we were. Let's put this back on. And you can see right here where I started this screw originally, that is was slightly off. And so I scratched the paint there. But that paint will be under here. You'll never see it. There's that one. Back in place. this one back in place. Tighten them both back down. Let's get the bigger screwdriver head, or bigger screwdriver, whatever, however you want to call it. So now, that's why things look so weird. That was actually canted over. Put this on here like that. Oops. Keep hitting my coffee. Let me move that out of the way. Turn the page. And we should have, and we have one last AM screw to put in there. Before I put the other side on all that together, I'm going to have to put that back on, and this time I'm going to finally super glue it in. I know where it belongs. I had it back on there. But like I said, there's my friend, it popped loose again. Okay, so we're going to put this screw in. Get it all the way tight. And now we have flex. Not a lot, but we do have flex and working steering. So yeah, where I was putting the, let's see if we can get it in camera. Where I was putting that part that keeps popping off was in the front hole. It actually goes in the front hole back there. I'm going to just drop it in there and then drop some glue in, and hopefully it'll stay in place. So that is all there is to do in stage 20. Batmobile is coming together. We are at this point 1/6 of the way through. Not bad. I'm really excited for this build. I hope you guys are enjoying it. If you are, go ahead and hit the like button and the subscribe button, and hit the bell icon as well to be notified of any time I post additional content. Please, 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 if you have any comments you'd like to make them. I love comments. I love to respond to them. Appreciate you stopping by for, let's see, what is it this time? Almost 30 minutes. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Have a great day. Have a great day tomorrow. And I will see you in the next video.